right. We've had a lot of technical talks.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I'm going to be a little bit easier on you. I think that's good at the end of the day. You don't have to wade into technical stuff too much. But I do want to challenge you anyway. Who here is a Go contributor? Who's contributed to the library? We know you have. Just two of you? All right. Well, me too.
Welcome to Utah.
Yeah. Who here would like to? Yeah, that's what I want to see. Who's afraid of contributing? This talk is for those of you who just raised your hand. My goal with this talk is to lower the inhibition level, make it look a little more accessible. Hopefully you'll see by the end of this that it's not as scary as you might think. My goals for this talk are to tell you who I am, describe a little bit about the process of becoming a Go contributor and through the story of how I became one, and hopefully encourage you to do the same thing. Some non-goals are to be exhaustive. I'm not going to go into every detail, and I'm not going to talk about a lot of code. There's a little bit of code here, but you don't have to understand it. If you want to, that's fine, but it's not important. This is my least favorite slide of this presentation because this is where I talk about myself and try to convince you that you should hire me or follow me on YouTube or whatever. I am a Go developer. I maintain a couple open source packages. Probably none that you've used. I wrote and maintain Kivik, which is a SDK or client library for CouchDB. I'm also a co-maintainer of Gopher.js, and I've contributed to a large number of other projects. I'm at Fractional Gopher, available for hire. If you would like to run more of my code in your production, follow the link. Also mentor people with Go and career advice. Was the Amsterdam I'm an ex-co-organizer of the Amsterdam Go meetup group back when I lived there. And does anybody here listen to Cup of Go?
I do.
Yeah, all right. I'm the co-host of Cup of Go. Has anybody seen my YouTube channel, Boldly Go? Got a few hands there too. Cool. Stickers were out. I think there's still some if you haven't picked them up. If you want stickers for either of those, go pick them out. Just for full disclosure, Brewster, the little brown gopher, was AI generated. I know. The Vulcan gopher, though, was human created. All right, let's talk about contributing to Go. Long, long ago, I already mentioned this, that my library, my Kivik library, the CouchDB driver, I got a request, not a pull request, just a feature request. I imagine more people here are familiar with MongoDB than CouchDB. Anybody here, who here has used Mongo or CouchDB, either one? Pretty much everybody's touched it a little bit. So in both of these libraries, both of these packages, you often use regular expressions to search for things, right? The feature request was that when they were passing a regular expression to a particular function, it wasn't being converted into JSON as they were hoping it to be, because Mongo uses BSON, but it's similar to JSON in theory, right? So the request was, can you make Kivik convert regular expressions to JSON for me so that I don't have to do this myself? But that's a really great idea, but I don't think that's my job. I feel like that should be part of the regular expression library, right? So here's just a simple example of the problem. This would print this output. Instead of printing the regular expression foo question, it prints empty braces. Not very useful. And this is what they wanted. So I created a proposal on the Go issue tracker. And there's links here. If you want to go read everything that happened, you can go read it later on. But I basically said, can we make a regular expression library that support? I actually asked for text marshaller rather than JSON marshaller because JSON uses the text marshaller. That detail doesn't really matter, but it would solve the problem, right? By making regular expressions convert to JSON properly, JSON strings. So after my proposal, we got some discussion. MV Dan, Daniel Marti, said this would also be nice for, and I don't even know what the issue was or if I talk about it here, but he said this would be nice to help solve this other problem. So anyway, the point here is there was some discussion, some back and forth, different people were involved. If you look at the dates here, this is back in 2021. I don't remember the date I proposed this thing. May 13. So that was the next day, about a week later. And then in June, so a month later, Russ Cox says this is likely to be declined. Oh, I thought I liked Russ. It was so sad. But then Roger Pepe piped up. He said, I think it would be fine if we did the equivalent, whatever. He basically defended my proposal. So then Russ decided he wanted me to like him again. And I don't know. I don't need to read all these comments to you. The point here is there was back and forth. And I was sad because we weren't going to do it. And then I was happy again. Based on the discussion above, this proposal seems to be a likely accept. Fingers crossed. I hope it makes it. Has anybody here followed an issue like this and seen how it goes in the issue tracker? It takes months. This case, this is a month and a half from the time it started. It's not that long yet. We're getting there. And then finally on July 28th, so it sat there in likely accept for a little over a month. No change in consensus. It was accepted. So problem solved, right? I'm a Go contributor. No. But I was really happy because my proposal, somebody validated me, and I felt those warm fuzzies that I look for. So, but who does it? Now it's been accepted. What happens next, right? Well, Russ says he's going to do it. I'm going to do the implementation. Great. I don't have to do it. I can just let Russ fix my problems, and I get to go home happy. That was July 28, 2021. On January 3rd, 2022, I said I could do this. There's been no updates, just crickets after that point. And then in April, months later, Josiah asks Russ, are you still going to do this? So anyway, I decided to try it. Let's take a little detour, though, and talk about the Go proposal process. I'm not going to go through all the details, of course. My point here isn't to teach you how to contribute to Go, but to make you less intimidated about it. So there is a contribution guide, which you are encouraged to read if you want to do this. It's a little bit scary. The scariest part, though, is learning Garrett.
Yes.
Who here has played with or tried to use Garrett? A few of you, yeah. Anybody who contributed probably have, although you can technically contribute through GitHub. You're encouraged to use Garrett. What is Garrett? It looks like GitHub if it had been written in 1991 in PHP. It's actually a very powerful tool. It's a little bit too powerful, maybe for mere mortals. But it's not that scary. The parts you need to know are well documented. Just follow the instructions, and you can do it. Basically, you check out. First of all, you have to create an account, a Google account. If you're anti-corporate, sorry. Then you need to download your code, just like you do a Git clone on GitHub. Follow some procedures. It's not complicated. Don't be intimidated. Just follow the instructions. You'll get there. So I'd volunteered to do the work that Russ was going to do for me and never got around to. 11 months later, I finally wrote the code. This is my contribution to the standard library. Yes, thank you. It doesn't do much. It calls an existing string function. It just wraps the string function for marshal text, and for unmarshal, it wraps the compile function. I wrote two little function wrappers. That's all I did. I did write some tests. I don't think they're on the slideshow here, but I did write some tests too. And then I got to wait for review. So here's Garrett. This is what it looks like. I told you it looked like a 1991 PHP app. Then Ian Taylor, said I needed to make some changes. He hated my code. He hated me. You'll need to add a new file to GoRoot API next. What is that?
Exactly.
Similar to the existing files, make sure that Go test, Go build passes with your changes. What? Okay, I thought that the test passed. I don't know what I did wrong, but I felt like a moron. So I made the change. I'm not going to walk through the change. It was pretty straightforward. Once I read the docs, it wasn't a big deal. I made a change, and then he nitpicks my commit message.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
My experience working with Go team members.
Yeah. So I had to lowercase a word. That's worth a comment, right? That's worth his time and my time. Yeah. I did it. And the last paragraph doesn't add any useful information. Omit it. Okay, I deleted a paragraph. All right. There was also some nits about how tests were done. We don't want a failure on one regex to stop all the rest. So use t.error instead of t.fatal. That's a good call, actually. That's probably worth doing. My Go doc was wrong, too. I put parens in at the end of my function thing. re.string open close paren, and I wasn't supposed to do that. But I fixed it. And then it got merged. So look at the date here, March 27, 2023. That's a little over 2 years after it was originally proposed. To write 10 lines of code.
This sounds very encouraging. Thank you very much. Use AI.
So
2.1.
So my code was released with Go 1.21, so it's been out for a little while now. You've already been running my code in production for a while. And that's the release notes. My name didn't even make it into the release notes. Just barely a link even mentioning that it happened, but that's okay. That's my story. That's my story. I want to leave though with some comments. If somebody said it's not very encouraging, let me talk about things you don't need to do or have or be to contribute to the Go library. You don't need mad hacking skills. You don't need to be a super genius. If I can write those 10 lines of code, anybody can write those 10 lines of code. You don't need deep Go knowledge. I imagine anybody in this room with an hour of research, if you had zero Go knowledge ahead of time, with an hour of research, you could have written that code. And I'm sure there's 1,000 other contributions you can make that require the same amount of Go knowledge or less. The key is finding something useful to do that people want. It's not about being the best Go developer or anything like that. It does require patience, though. We talked earlier today about how the Go team is very conservative in accepting things in the standard library and so on and so forth. That's part of the reason that this took so long. They don't want to just accept every proposal. Everybody might have a great idea about something they could add, but we need a process to not have too much churn so we can trust the standard library to be productive and safe and so on. So patience is a virtue in this process. And humility helps. It felt harsh when I got those criticisms from Ian and from Russ about maybe closing the proposal and so on. But I haven't spoken directly to Russ, but I've spoken to Ian. He's a really nice guy. I know that he didn't mean anything, certainly didn't mean anything personal by what he said. But still, you can take it personally, especially when it's a project that kind of feels intimidating. So approach it with a little bit of humility and be willing to learn new things about whether or not to capitalize the M in make or how to write your Go doc or whatever. Is anybody here now less afraid of becoming a Go developer, or did I make it worse? I saw a couple of hands go up timidly here. All right. One of my goals with my social media stuff, my podcast, my YouTube channel, is to make Go less scary, whether it's contributing to the library or not. If that's interesting to you, you can follow me. boldlygo.tech is my website. If you go to /daily, you can sign up for my daily mailing list. I don't actually write daily these days, but up to 5 times a week when I have the time. Listen to the Cup of Go podcast, or soon I'll be uploading to YouTube again. I did an international move last year, so I haven't gotten back into that, but I will soon. So if you scan that QR code, it will take you to the slideshow and links to stuff if you want that. I'm sure we'll share it on the Slack channel too. Are there any questions? Yes.
Did you get to close your original issue?
Yeah, it was closed automatically by the Gopher bot, or the Go bot, or whatever, yeah, but it's closed now. Oh, you mean the one on my project? Yes, that's close too. Yes, yes. Any other questions? Yes.
How do you handle like the feeling of like responsibility of the code going to production? You know, what if it caused like a bug or something? Do you feel bad, or you know, how do you manage that kind of like scariness?
So that's a good question. The question is, how do I handle the responsibility of my code going into production? In this particular case, I wasn't concerned. It's such a very simple piece of code. I didn't write any logic. As I mentioned, I just wrapping two other functions already existed. But that's a real question. You know, it's a real concern that comes up all the time. Maybe not in this example, but I write tests. I do the best I can, and I know that I will fail anyway. And so I think this gets back more to the philosophy of how do you write quality software. And good observability tools, good logging, good stable release processes, so that when you find a problem, you can find it quickly and you can release the fix quickly. That's far more important than code reviews or whatever. You know, code reviews are good, but at the end of the day, bugs will get into production. There's no way to avoid it. So prepare yourself to respond as quickly as you can. Yeah.
Have you ever ran a git blame on it to see if it's still?
So actually, shortly after it was merged, they discovered an issue. It wasn't a big issue, and Rust just fixed it. I don't remember what it was. It might have just been documentation.
Probably.
But yeah, I don't know. Anyone else? Yeah.
When would you try and contribute to the standard library versus just like making your own open source?
Is the question what, like for a new person who's approaching it? Okay. If I understand, the question is what could a new person contribute to the standard library as opposed to building their own library?
Or like, why try and
Oh, why try? If you want to. If you want to build your own library, of course, that's great. I do that too. But you know, in this case, you know, it was a feature that arguably belonged in the standard library. And so, you know, I could have solved it in my own library, but then I would only solve it for me, and I wouldn't solve it for everybody else who might care. So I think both are great. Yeah. Yes.
With the open issue on your own library, was there a period of time where you did, you know, solve it manually while you waited for this proposal to go through and everything else, or did you just leave that issue open for 2+ years? Just curious.
It's a good question. I left it open for 2 years. And in this case, the reason is because it wasn't very hard to work around. There's another case, actually. I'm working on another contribution to the standard library now. It's actually a bug fix in the SQL driver. That I wrote a library. It's basically a proxy driver for SQL to do extra logging for debugging. And it uncovered a bug. I worked around that in my library. Because there's no, like, in this case, the user could just send a string instead of sending a regular expression object, and it works. So, you know, maybe it's a little bit annoying, but it was not very annoying. In this case, with the SQL thing, there's no way to work around it except to work around it in my library. So there I do work around it, and then once it's merged to the standard library, hopefully it'll be included to 1.26, then I can remove it from my library in that case. So, anything else? Yeah?
We're gonna get a tie like that.
Wonderful question. I had this one made. So Russ Cox and Rob Pike, maybe? I don't remember who. A couple of them. They published the patterns in multiple colors. So I just got that pattern and sent it to Zazzle for I think I spent $23 on this tie. There's time for questions because I went quickly, but if there aren't any more, I won't keep you here. I think we'll give away some things next. Oh, there's over here. Yeah.
So, in your opinion, what should be the good solution for the lack of reviewers, or kind of like very cool?
What's a solution for the lack of reviewers? Is that the question? Because
Kind of like code contributors.
say it again.
Code contributors.
Oh, lack of contributors.
Lack of reviewers, rather.
Of contributors, yeah. Because when you write a contribution, it sits there sometimes for a while. Is that what you're talking about? I asked Ian this question on the podcast. a few months ago. I didn't ask him that direct question. I said, what can we do to encourage more contributions from people and get them through quickly? And his answer didn't satisfy me because it was a good answer, but it was follow the procedure. Basically, don't do what I did and write bad comments. So I don't have a good answer to that. I'm frustrated, I have to say, sometimes in both the process of the proposals. I've provided a few proposals that have gotten a little attention but never advanced. And I don't want to nag the Go team. I know that they're busy people and they're doing a lot of good work. And then when it comes to writing code, I wrote this SQL bug fix I wrote a year ago. It's been sitting there and hasn't gotten much attention. I think it's finally gotten attention again, and I'm ready to. I just need to do one last change to get it merged. I don't know the answer. I guess the one thing I found, if you've contributed something or are trying to contribute something and haven't got the attention you need, the Gopher's Slack has a contribution, something like that, channel where you can ask for review on your thing and you'll get attention that way. That's how I got my SQL fix. That's how I got it some attention again. So, yeah. Anything else? We done?
Yeah.